Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wake Up with Toastmasters. My name is Gene Williams. I'm your Program Quality Director for District 115, which is Southern Nevada and a little piece of Utah. This is my co-host, Gene Denford. Hi, Gene.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
How are you today?
I'm good. My camera just went off. I'm going to have to fix that.
Well, it's good to see you. Happy Wednesday, and happy Wednesday, everybody. One quick announcement. This Saturday is our district conference. That will be at the Hampton Inn if you've already bought tickets. If you have not already purchased a ticket, and we are past the date to do that, then look for our streaming package, and you'll see the flyer in this Facebook page. The streaming package includes everything you'd get in person with a really great front row seat because the camera's right there. It will not include the food, but everything else that you'd want to see is there. So if you're out of area or don't feel comfortable going into a crowd or just didn't miss the deadline, please join us online, and everything will be there. The banner parade, the two educationals, the keynote speaker, both contests, and so many more things I can't even keep listing. So there's lots of things there. So look for that on Saturday. And then start gearing up for club officer training, and we'll go into more of that this next week and on Mark Your Calendar Monday. So today, though, I thought we'd talk about the types of clubs. And we'll start with specialty clubs. So we have basically, we broke it into, for our, Gene and I came up with 4 general categories of specialty clubs, advanced clubs, corporate clubs, and community clubs. So we'll start with, though, the specialty clubs. Specialty clubs are not always advanced, but they're very specialty. For example, it could be a club that's in a foreign language, like we have Gente de Voz. It's in Spanish. We also have Toastmasters in the Kitchen, which is no longer an advanced club. It's a community club, a regular club, but they specialize for our foodies among us that love to cook and share recipes and all sorts of things that are food related. So look for that one. We have other clubs that are advanced. We'll go to that in a second. But community clubs specialty clubs can be languages. They can be pet lovers. There's, I think, a couple clubs in the nation for people who want to learn parliamentary procedure. There's so many specialty clubs. A specialty club can also be a religious club. We have one that's at a church, and Southern Hills Baptist, and they, of course, have a religious basis. We also have Desert Democrats and Republicans Club, 2 different clubs, of course. And both of those are specialty clubs. So they're open to anybody who wants to come. But of course, you can tell that they're specialty clubs. So we have quite a number of specialty clubs in our area, in our district alone. And if you start looking, depending on the part of the country you're in, you may find others. Sometimes you'll see a club meets at a library or a museum because they are based in that. So maybe history or something like that. So there's so many clubs that are specialty clubs. So look for those. If you see a tagline, there's, I think, one called Potty, P-A-W-T-Y, Potty Toastmasters. They're pet lovers. All pet lovers, they bring their cats or dogs or whatever bird, turtle to the meeting, share them on screen. I think they're still on Zoom. I'm not sure. So look for things that interest you. Maybe that'll bring you out of your shell. Maybe you're one of those people that say, well, I don't know what I'm good at. All I know is I love animals, or I love to eat and share recipes. But if I'm not talking about food, I really feel uncomfortable talking at all. Then maybe a specialty club is the answer for you. And we have so many that are fun. Which of the specialty clubs do you think is the most interesting, Gene?
Most interesting. I started a debate club a long time back. We called it Veritas Speaks. I'm still found on Twitter with Veritas Speaks because that's what I set up my Twitter account. But the debate club did not take off. It's one of my many failures that I've had. But I like the idea of a debate club. We really had some great debates, and one of the clubs, Valley Voices and Vices, I think every couple of 6 months has a debate on a topic. at least they used to, where two sides of the room would line up against each other and we would debate topics. I learned more about speaking with debate and how to listen. Listening is a very intense part of a debate because you need to know the other side. And then the biggest thing with Veritas Speaks is we would not pick our topic ourselves. We would draw it from a hat. And so you might be speaking for something you abhor because you drew that as your side. So you had to be either for or against, and you could be for or against in that big club. It was a very unique club, and I miss it very much. I miss all the friends that I had there. We had several members that are in other clubs now, but one of my great friends, Bill Jackie, passed away, and miss him too at that club. So that was my specialty club that I like the best. But I have been to several that are unique and have a specialty feature.
Well, our own, oh, excuse me. Our own Toastmasters in the Kitchen was actually written up in the Toastmasters magazine, which I thought was kind of fascinating. And that one also has uses or shows and it uses a 2-camera demonstration technique. So that's fun too, to learn different skills and everything and to learn about different things. So you're right there. And some of your Veritas Speaks people are actually over in Speak, Speech and Teach, our newest club in the district. So look for those. So lots of fun specialty clubs. So let's though now talk about advanced clubs. These are the clubs that you have to meet a requirement to join. One of them, for example, is authors and aspiring authors. For authors and aspiring authors, the only requirement is that you join a regular Toastmasters club, a community club or a corporate club, but you be in a regular club. And the reason for that is that in your regular club, you're learning things like the odd counter, the grammarian, or the odd counter. You're doing things like being encouraged to put your speech down and speak from your memory, all the things that the Toastmasters clubs are founded on, really. But over in authors, because we're an authors club, we read our speeches because you're reading your book. And it actually, we're discouraged from speaking off the cuff or speaking, showing up with an idea or 5 bullet points. In that club, you need to bring your story and read your story, and people give you feedback so you can move toward being published. The goal is to become a published author, and the club does what it can to foster that. We have our published authors among us are pulling along our aspiring author. So it's author and aspiring authors. And that one's a lot of fun. So pop in if you want to see it. It's on Friday nights at 6. That one also has a story prompt. About every 5 or 6 weeks, there's a story prompt challenge. And you get a story prompt and everybody writes a story, what they interpret the story prompt or what they see coming out of that. And write these really fun 3 to 5 minute speeches, or sometimes they'll be 5 to 7, depending on what the challenge is that time. So there's all sorts of fun things. But another reason it's not that we require a person join another one is because we don't have an odd counter, because you're reading your works. We do, though, have our educational moments longer. There's also our stories, and speeches are much longer. So you might be asked to give a 15-minute speech. Well, if you've only not really given any speeches and now you're having to give a 15-minute speech, no. So that's another reason that one's an advanced club. Another advanced club we have in this district is Bon Appetit. And that one is more for your district leaders. It has the social club atmosphere, but it's to bring the leaders together, to kind of, I guess, reward and celebrate. It is a eating club. They do eat at their clubs, and that one I believe is still hybrid. So that's good too. Another advanced club is Sage Leaders. Now that one is also for your district leaders, but it's about learning leadership and helping you in your leadership role. So whereas Bon Appetit has the social atmosphere and bringing people together, Sage Leaders brings those same people together, but to help one another, kind of go up the ladder of leadership. So even if you don't want to, so if you're, for example, a brand new club officer, you can be a fairly new Toastmaster and you're a club officer. The requirement for that club is you be a club officer or above. So maybe you've just become a sergeant at arms. You're all nervous. You have the people in your club and they're nice, but you just really want that extra layer of support. And that's where Sage Leaders comes in. And that one on in May 24th, Tuesday, it's a Tuesday, is having a celebration of leadership actually for all the new incoming district leaders. Let me double check that date. But that is May the, May the 24th. So look for that. Look for the flyers for celebration of leadership. If you're an incoming leader, an incoming officer in the fall, or incoming area director, incoming division director, anything along that line, celebrate leadership with us on that date. It's a big open house. And that club also does real unique things, like they have a discussion table. I think about every third meeting, have a discussion table of different topics. So maybe it's how to run an effective meeting, or what I wish I had known, when I first became a district leader. So there's different topics and different things that go on. They've had demonstrations of how to install club officers, which very few clubs do. And it's so sad because it's such a ceremonial, nice way to transition the power from one group to another. So that club is a very good specialty club. So look for that one, or advanced club rather. That one's a very nice advanced club. Look for that one. And I think those are our only advanced clubs in our district. Yes, those are the only three, because Toastmasters in the Kitchen, which was advanced, is now a community club, although a specialty club. Oh, so that gets us all the way through now, specialty and advanced clubs. So now we'll mention corporate clubs. Corporate clubs, that's how I actually started in Toastmasters. My company, actually a number of people within the company said, hey, we should have a Toastmasters club, and got buy-in from management that we have this Toastmasters club. So management and employees worked together and hammered out the details, like when we would meet, where we would meet, how much time we would get off the clock to meet. And then it was announced to the massive employee pool, we're having a Toastmasters meeting. If you're interested and you'd like to learn more, please come to this meeting room at this time. So I think 40 people all trooped in, and I think about 30 of us had signed our papers by the end of the demonstration meeting, and all of us became Toastmasters on the exact same day at the exact same time. And those clubs are unique for so many reasons. They're closed only, sometimes they're referred to as closed clubs, but not closed in a way that we barred the doors, closed in a way that only people in a certain group are allowed in this case, the company. So here it is, a corporate club that only company people are allowed in, but everybody's starting at the same time. So you can see where there's some unique challenges. The only experienced members are the club mentors, who stay with the club the first 6 months to a year, but everybody else is new and everybody else is pretty much starting at the same time. And usually the club mentors are not from the company. They're from Toastmasters who come in and help out. So everybody kind of moves along at the same pace, and you can see where there could be some confusion, because if you don't know something, maybe you don't even know that you don't know. So they have their challenges, our corporate clubs. And because of that, at our Toastmaster Leadership Institute, at our club officer training, we actually have a separate class for corporate vice presidents of public relation and vice presidents of membership, because those two offices are the most different than all the other offices in a community club. But our corporate clubs, one of our corporate clubs, Cheers, and our another corporate club, Library 2.0, both came together a couple of years ago and said, why can't we sit down and help each other? And the Corporate Club Summit was born, which I was excited about. And it has continued for 2 years. The reason it's no longer continuing is because we now do have that separate class for our corporations at the club officer training both times of the year. And that's also a chance for those people to come together and chat and talk and see each other and talk about best practices in their clubs. So that is a corporate club. If you are a business owner and you're thinking of having a corporate club or you'd like to know more about it, you can reach out to myself at this email address, d115pqd, or to Ken Richardson, our club growth director, at d115cgd, either one of us at Gmail, and ask about, like more details about it. We're not there to hard sell you. We're just there to share information with you if you'd like to know. The advantage also that we have now that we didn't have in the past, because now Zoom has opened up to us, some companies can have their club meetings on Zoom. This is advantageous if you have a company where some people work at home, some people work in the office, or if you have people in multiple locations. For example, maybe you're a medical office with 5 locations, and each location has a staff of people, everything from receptionist and billing and reception and everything else, and they're all coming together.
I had a club I started that was for a dental association that would have benefited by having their meetings on Zoom. But this was years ago. And the problem was dentist offices are scattered all over the county. And the dentist wanted to meet at 5 o'clock at their corporate headquarters. Well, you can see that if your dental office closed at 5 or 6, you would not be able to come to the meeting. So we had maybe 20, 30 members that would come, but they would have to drive all the way across town to the meeting. It would be great to have a new meeting for them that would be on Zoom. They could remain at their office, stay at their desk, and be at the meeting at the same time. That's a great thing. I love Zoom meetings myself.
There's pluses and minuses, I think. I think for Zoom, though, if you going back to the corporate clubs, like Jean said, if you have multiple locations, or these days, a lot of people went home to work and loved it and wanted to stay at home. So if you're allowing that, especially in light of the social distancing, which is still happening in Nevada still, then you can have maybe half your people at home one day and then the other half the other day, or so, something along that line. So if you want to look for having a corporate club that meets online, if you have a meeting room though and your people are all in person, you can have a club in person. And as far as costs and all those things, a corporate club is unique that it can do everything from the corporation paying for everything. In my case, the corporation paid for nothing because we were government employees and the government does not pay for that. So we all had to pay for ourselves. So the government did encourage us, give us a room to meet in, and give us a mentor, and really did a lot of other things, but the financial part wasn't there. So you don't have to think, oh, I don't have another expense. It's also a great training program to help your employees with everything from communication to leadership to interview skills, all the things that can help them in their career and their job, and help your customers as well, because they become better communicators to help your customers. So that's our corporate clubs. And so I've been in several. And the advantages, you're with people, the other real advantage that I never thought of about a corporate club, you get to meet people in other departments. So your people in billing are going to meet your people in reception. And maybe it's that one person that says, I just wish you guys knew it would help us over in reception, or the billing says, if you guys only would ask them this last question and put it on a form, it would so much help us over in billing. So something along that line. And now all of a sudden your company is going to run a little more effectively because you have people in different departments interacting, whereas perhaps they would not have before. And this holds especially true if you're doing yours on Zoom and your reception department's over here, but your billing department's in a different building over there. Lots of advantages to having that for your office. Ask questions, look for us to help you. We'd love to talk to you about a corporate club for your company. The last type of club, though, is the community club. So it's sort of like if you didn't fall into one of those categories. I don't know what the red thing is that's appearing on my screen. I apologize, folks. It's probably something behind me that's breaking through my virtual background. Don't be frightened. It's nothing bad. I'll figure out what it is and make it stop later. But the last type of club, we talked about everything else. If you're not a corporate club, you're not a specialty club, you're not an advanced club, you're probably a community club. And I don't say just the community club, because no, our community clubs outnumber the others probably, I don't know, 5-1 in our district, probably more in the other districts as well. And the community clubs are the ones most people think of when they think of Toastmasters. You're at the library, you see a sign, Toastmasters meets here on Wednesdays, you're at your church, and you see something on the bulletin board. You're at a community center for something else, and you see a sign, and that's where you start asking questions. There's one of our Toastmaster clubs that meets at a grocery store. There's some that meet at a bar. There's some that not because they drink, because there's a meeting room at the bar. Finding a venue is sometimes challenging. Sometimes you'll hear something at a church and it's not a religious club. It's because that's where we can get the room. So ask if you're curious, if you see something, for example, that's meeting at XYZ church, and you're not of that faith and would feel uncomfortable, you can always ask, is this a faith-based club? Or is it just that you needed a meeting room? And most of the time it's going to be that they needed the meeting room. So don't let the location bother you until you ask more questions. But community clubs, before we went online, all of them were, of course, in the community. And people would look for clubs based on where they lived. And that's still the case. If you go to toastmasters.org, find a club, you will see, you put in your zip code and it's going to list the clubs that are in your geographic area. However, because we had our pandemic and we're still recovering from that, in that a lot of clubs are still having trouble finding venues. Many of the venues closed or no longer allow visitors, don't need the extra foot traffic walking through, whatever the reason. So a lot of our clubs that want to go back to meeting in person are now cannot, because there's no venue. Other clubs that met in person got online and said, hey, this is pretty cool. We have members from all over the world now. We have members from all over the country. How great is this that our club is more fun and more diverse because of that? So those clubs are agreeing to stay online. And one of those, for example, is Lambda Linguists. And Carol Wayman pops in and says hi to us from that club. They are going to stay online. I think they might switch over to hybrid. Other clubs went to hybrid. Other clubs that only had local people, like Windjammers, went straight to in person only. You'll see them streaming on Facebook, but they're in person because they found a venue and they're all local folks. So look for the venue. Don't worry so much about location right now until you find out more about where they're meeting and are they going to stay online. Some of the clubs, for example, Storytellers. Storytellers was a club that was kind of bursting at the seams in their little tiny meeting room anyway, usually about 20 members. When the pandemic hit and they opened up Zoom, I think there are 45 members now. Don't let that intimidate you. They're a fabulous club. They're based about storytelling. I guess that would be one of our specialty clubs, actually. I'm sorry I didn't put you in the specialty category earlier, but Storytellers does relate to storytelling, how to put storytelling in your speech to make it more interesting and make people want to hear it more. But that one is agreed to stay online because they have so many people from out of area, and also I'm sorry, my regular arm is making noise, and also getting more people in from out of area and everything else. So they are staying online. So look for that when you start going to find a club. Don't worry as much about the venue. Go ahead and inquire with the club and find out. Or if you just are never visited a Toastmaster club before, maybe you would feel more comfortable just visiting one online. So, and a quick side note to that, if you would like to visit a Toastmasters club on Zoom, some clubs will have all the information you need to come into the meeting room right there. Others will ask that you register, it depends. But when you show up, just put your name on your screen, your first and last name, and then show your face on, where it says stop video. You need to show your video so people can see you. The reason for that is we are, like any place that's meeting on Zoom, we have what's called a Zoom bomber. And that's a person, if you think about those calls that your grandparents made where they'd call the grocery store, do you have Prince Albert in a can? We better let him out, and all that well, now that somehow that juvenile mentality is carried over to Zoom bombing. So just be aware, to show that you're just curious and you're a community person who wants to learn about that club. Just activate your video, say hi, and just see what everybody says. Most clubs are going to be very friendly and very open and happy to see you there. Oh, we covered a lot today, Jean. Anybody on Facebook? Any comments there?
Everybody is asleep today. I think it's sleep in day. I got no comments on Facebook other than my own. So go read what I posted on Facebook. It goes along with our meeting, talking about a little bit more details about what is a corporate club and what is a specialty club and how to form a club. And if you're a company and you want to find out more about Toastmasters, there's a link in there for that too.
Thank you. You know, some days it's interesting. Some days we have a lot of people online and some days we don't. But if you're online, you're quiet, just wave or say hi. And if you're watching it later in the day, we're happy that you're watching us. But those are your types of clubs. Again, if you have a corporation you're interested in learning more about that, reach out to us. Also, if you go into Toastmasters International, you can inquire there, and that'll also come to our district. If you're a community member and you're looking for a club, if you're here on Facebook, look through some of the Facebook things. You can also go into Meetup. A lot of the clubs are on Meetup, or just go to toastmasters.org, find a club, and just start paging through and looking at them. Sometimes you can tell by the name what kind of club they are. Other times you don't know. Go ahead and call or look at their webpage and see what they show. Usually you'll see pictures of other members, maybe a little bit about the club, what they specialize in, what type of audience they're looking to attract, those sorts of things. So look for that. So many ways to find out more.
And like Jean said, if you're a club officer or above and you are looking for a club to improve your skills as a club leader, we have a great club for you to join. And that is a club that has people who are higher than district office and people who are aspiring to be better leaders in their own club locally. So that is Sage Leaders. Jean and I are both members of that and enjoy going to that meeting. I think that's Wednesdays, isn't it, Jean? When does that club meet?
Second and fourth Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And I will say that
must be why I missed it the other day.
We were there last night. You stop it. But in that specific time. But I will say one thing. I got to shout out to that club because that is the one that saw some sort of potential in me that I never saw in myself, and said, you know, hey, I think you'd be great as an area director. And I said, what's that? So they told me, and then I said, they said, and you'd be great as a division director. And now they've backed me up and encouraged me all the way. So here I am, program quality director. Lots of exciting things to learn and to learn from the other people. They, like Jean said, they're from all over. I think hundreds of years worth of experience. I don't think they've added it up in the last 5 years, but I know they have that many more years of district leadership. If you're, so look for things like that. There's clubs and support and all of our support and encouragement in all of our clubs. And if somebody comes up to you in the next month or so and says, in any club that you're in, have you thought about being an area director? It is typically because they see some potential in you to help lead the district. And we are looking for area directors. So if you are interested in being one or learning more about it, please look for different speeches we'll have. Maybe we will be able to on Friday, Jean, talk about area directors and such. So we'll look at that.
I'd be happy to share my story.
Okay, but let's let that, and let's go with that. And it looks like we got everything we got. And let's get going then. If you see us on Facebook, like, comment, share, be one of our followers, and we will see you then on Friday on Wake Up with Toastmasters.